the haunted game that swallows souls. David Kyle stepped through the creaky door of the old apartment, the hinges groaning like a sigh from the past. It was 2012, and the small town of Riverside, nestled along the banks of the Mississippi in the American Midwest, still clung to its nostalgic charm, far removed from the bustling tech hubs of Silicon Valley or New York. Cobblestone streets lined with faded brick buildings, diners serving greasy burgers and milkshakes, kids playing kickball in dusty lots, and the occasional rumble of a freight train passing by all evoked a bygone era where offline games on floppy disks and CD-ROMs were king, and smartphones were just starting to creep into everyday life. David, 23 years old, had just graduated from a state university with a degree in computer science, but he wasn't eager to dive into the corporate grind. Quiet and introspective, with few friends, he preferred the comfort of retro hobbies, old vinyl records, yellowed paperbacks from thrift stores, and collecting vintage video games. Moving into this apartment, inherited from a distant uncle who had passed away from old age 3 months earlier, was his chance to escape the city's chaos and embrace a simpler life. In the uncle's will, there was a vague warning: don't mess with the old computer in the spare room, it holds bad memories. The apartment was on the second floor of a weathered tenement building from the early 1900s, with 2 cramped bedrooms, peeling wallpaper stained by years of water damage, and wooden floors that creaked underfoot like whispers of forgotten stories. The air was musty, laced with the faint scent of mothballs from the family photos still hanging on the walls, black and white portraits of stern-faced relatives gazing down judgmentally. David wasn't superstitious, but out of habit from his Midwestern upbringing, he lit a candle in the living room as a small nod to family tradition, hoping for good luck in his new start. He spent the afternoon unpacking, sweeping away cobwebs from the high ceilings, dusting off the antique oak furniture, and arranging his belongings: a few programming books, an old Walkman cassette player, and a suitcase of clothes. Exhausted but content, he collapsed onto the sagging bed, listening to the wind whistling through the cracked window frames, mingled with the distant howls of neighborhood dogs and the gentle lapping of the river against the shore in the night. The next morning, as sunlight filtered through the dusty blinds, David explored the apartment more thoroughly. In the spare bedroom, a narrow space barely fitting a single bed and a desk, he uncovered the old desktop computer shoved into a corner, blanketed in a thick layer of dust, like a relic from another time. It was a clunky beast from the late 90s, a bulky beige tower with a whining-eyed hard drive, a 17-inch CRT monitor that hummed with static, a mechanical keyboard clacking loudly, and a ball mouse that rolled unevenly. He wiped it clean with a rag, plugged it in, and to his surprise, it booted up smoothly after all these years. Running Windows 98, with simple desktop icons and no internet connections, a dial-up modem. He didn't bother testing in this rural town with spotty service. On the C drive, a handful of folders, Uncle's documents filled with old tax forms and letters, family photos with scanned images faded by time, and old games, the one that sparked his interest. Inside, old games were classics he'd loved as a kid. DOS Tetris with its falling blocks, Prince of Persia jumping through pixelated palaces, Doom with its pixelated gunfire, and a peculiar title called Mystery Quest. It was a 2D adventure game, a ROM hack reminiscent of Earthbound, but with a homemade American twist. Pixel art in 16-bit style, vibrant yet eerie, featured a young boy wandering through small towns, collecting badges to level up, and battling monsters in turn-based combat. The creatures weren't cute but folklore-inspired horrors. Will-o'-the-wisps flickering in swamps, hungry ghouls with jagged teeth, undead zombies from graveyards, or even river spirits lurking in the depths. The settings were nostalgic. Rural towns with oak trees and town squares, old churches with steeple bells, winding rivers with fishing boats, and cobblestone streets mirroring Riverside. Sound effects were basic beeps and boops from the PC speaker. No fancy soundtrack, but that simplicity evoked David's childhood. Rainy afternoons in his Illinois hometown, glued to his dad's old computer, playing bootleg ROM hacks from flea market CDs, ignoring his mom's calls for dinner, lost in the pixel worlds. David smiled nostalgically and double-clicked the icon. The CRT flickered and a simple intro appeared. You are the lost boy in a mysterious world. Find your way home, but beware the shadows that follow. The default character was named the Kid, with messy hair and a backpack. The game started in a town eerily like Riverside, the Mississippi rolling by, diners with neon signs, even details like the old oak tree in the park. He played for a few minutes, guiding the Kid around, picking up the first badge, a star-shaped emblem and fighting a willow. the Wisp with turn-based commands, attack, defend, use item. Everything ran smoothly, no bugs. He saved his progress as David1.sav in the default folder, then shut down to wander the town, grabbing snacks from the local corner store. Life felt peaceful, a fresh beginning, but that night, as David slept on the lumpy mattress, he jolted awake to a strange worry from the spare room, like the hard drive spinning on its own. Even though the computer was off, he dismissed it as wind or rodents in the walls, but the noise faded. In the morning, booting up and checking the save folder, he froze. Next to David1.sav was a new file. "I'm behind you, Salv." All caps, no spaces. It sent a chill down his spine. Must be a glitch. Old drive acting up, he muttered, deleting it and restarting the game. But upon loading, the file reappeared, and in the game, the kid now had a new companion. A shadowy pixel blob trailing right behind, labeled in bold red as "I'm behind you." It said nothing, didn't attack, just followed silently, moving deliberately whenever the kid paused. Curiosity outweighed initial unease. David figured it was an Easter egg from the programmer, maybe a homebrew game from the early 2000s, when ROM hacks were big in underground gaming circles. He kept playing, exploring a foggy forest outside town, collecting a second Bajan, Oakleaf and battling a ghoul. "I'm behind you" lingered, occasionally flashing system messages. "I'm always here, don't look back." He chuckled, saved as David2.sav, powered off, and went to bed. The apartment was quiet that evening, save for rain pattering on the windows and wind moaning through the eaves. David lay thinking about the game, reminiscing about childhood nights staying up late, with red bootlegs on emulators, meticulously saving progress to avoid losses, the thrill of reloading and seeing your adventure intact. Now, Mystery Quest stirred those memories, but with an off-kilter twist, like a cherished recollection warped by shadows. The next morning, "I'm behind you." Sav was back, undeleted, its size grown as if self-updating. Loading it, the game shifted subtly but chillingly, the pixel world dimmer, mist shrouding the town, monsters more aggressive with faster animations. The shadow "I'm behind you" sharpened into a pixel boy shape, pale-faced, black-eyed voids, mouth twisted in a grin. When the kid rested by an oak tree, it crept closer, dialogue popping up. "Do you hear footsteps? I'm walking behind you." At that moment, behind David in the real apartment, he heard creaking like someone stepping softly on the wooden floors. He whipped around, heart pounding, sweat beading, but the room was empty. Just shadows lurking in corners and family photos staring blankly. "Hallucination from late-night gaming," he grumbled, shutting down hastily and stepping outside for fresh air. Riverside buzzed in the morning. Farmers heading to market by the river, bicycles ringing bells with baskets of produce, the aroma of fresh pancakes from the diner wafting through, and kids laughing on their way to school. David stopped at the corner cafe run by Mrs. Leedson, elderly neighbor from the apartment next door. In her 70s with silver hair in a bun, chewing gum habitually like old Midwestern ladies, her wrinkled skin telling tales of hard farm life. She often sat on her porch in a rocking chair, spinning yarns about local history for anyone who listened, from Civil War ghosts to river legends. "You're the new kid in your uncle's place, huh? That apartment's got a history, you know. Sit down, I'll tell ya, over coffee." David took a stool, ordered a black coffee, and listened as Mrs. Leeds spoke in her gravelly voice, eyes gazing toward the Mississippi. "About 10 years back, around 2002, there was a boy named Alex living there alone. Orphaned young, parents lost in a boating accident on the river. Your uncle looked after him from afar. Smart kid but quiet, like you. Always glued to that old computer, same one you're using now. Played some adventure game, exploring towns, collecting stuff, fighting monsters. Got it from a flea market disc, obsessed with it. Started changing though. Talked to himself in the room. You behind me. Stop following." Neighbors thought he was haunted, called a pastor for blessings, but no dice. Then one stormy night, like these around here, he vanished. No trace. Police searched the river, questioned folks, but nothing, not a body, not a clue. Rumor has it the game swallowed him, his spirit trapped in the digital world. The apartment sat empty after that, no takers. "Don't play too much, son, or you'll end up like Alex." Maybe his ghost's still wandering, waiting to pull someone else in. Mrs. Leeds' story sent shivers through David, goosebumps rising, but he brushed it off as small-town folklore. "Thanks, ma'am, but I'm not into ghosts. Probably just ran away." Mrs. Leeds shook her head, popping her gum. "Believe what you want, but I'm warning you, true. Light a candle for the family, and don't boot up at night." Back home, curiosity won. He powered on. I'm behind you, Sav persisted. Larger still. Loading, the world darkened. Town fogged in. Ghouls screeching from speakers. And I'm behind you, mimicking the kid precisely. The kid turned. It turned. If ran, it pursued relentlessly. David played into the afternoon, the watched feeling intensifying, like invisible eyes tracking his real-life moves. Pausing for instant, Roman his go-to-broke student meal. Boiling water in a mug. The kid in-game suddenly halted at a pixel diner, slurping noodle pixels in sync. Coincidence? Random event? He whispered, hands trembling. Evening brought a thunderstorm, lightning flashing, thunder rumbling. David continued, room lit only by the CRT glow, casting warped shadows on walls. In-game, the kid reached an old house mirroring his apartment. Family photos pixelated, creaky floors detailed, even the faded wallpaper. Programmer must have been local, he thought. Then I'm behind you, closed in. Your house is nice. I want to stay forever. Do you see me in the screen? Simultaneously, the CRT reflected a hazy figure behind him, tall and eyeless, spinning around. Nothing but creaks echoed, deliberate steps approaching from the corner. Heart racing, he slammed the power off, bolted to bed, breath ragged. That night, nightmares plagued him. He was the kid in pixels, wandering. I'm behind you, whispering. I'm Alex, you'll be me. Morning after, David tried forgetting with a town walk. Visiting the park oak-like in the game and chatting neighbors, who eyed him oddly. He reminds me of Alex, always alone. Home, he attempted deleting the game, wiping folders, even partial hard drive format via DOS. But next day, it restored itself. I'm behind you, Sav immutable. He played on, hooked like an addiction. Childhood nostalgia twisted into obsession. The game bled into reality. Whispers from speakers post shut down. Shadows in windows beyond the screen. Details manifesting, like deeper wall cracks matching pixels. One night, in-game, the kid gazed out a pixel window at the river matching his view. I'm behind you, murmured. You're eating ramen, right? Tastes good. I want some too. Panicked, David pounded on Mrs. Leeds' door in the rain. Ma'am, I hear noises, footsteps, and the game. It knows what I'm doing. She let him in, pitying eyes, just like Alex. Boy. Started with steps, screen shadows, then the game copied him. Let me tell more. Alex said a shadow named Weird followed, and saves renamed to his name. Stop playing, say a prayer, call a priest for exorcism. His soul might be stuck, waiting to swap with another. But David ignored her. Curiosity and nostalgia overpowered fear. He dove deeper, addicted. I'm behind you, chatted like a friend. You like retro stuff, huh? Old games, books, music. Me too. I'm always with you, behind you, in your memories. Horrors escalated. Monsters whispering David. Scenes sinking reality if raining outside. Pixels poured. If he glanced riverward, the kid did too. Whispers echoed real. I'm behind you from the drive, from wind. Climax hit on a torrential weekend night. Lightning illuminating. David reached final save. Kid entering final house. Exact apartment replica. Photos flickering. Shadows enveloping. I'm behind you approached. Now, you're me. I'm you. Welcome home. Screen flashed blindingly. Save autori named David Kyle. Sav character now David. Face his likeness. Escaping futile. Mouse frozen. Drive roaring. From CRT, pixel shadow protruded, not illusion, but real. Pixels morphing to pale flesh. Void eyes staring. Twisted grin whispering. I'm behind you. David screamed, lunging for the door locked tight. Key gone. The shadow emerged fully. Behind him, icy breath on neck, claws on shoulder. Real and virtual merged. David feeling his soul sucked into pixels. Childhood memories shattering into eternal dread. He collapsed, consciousness fading. Morning found the apartment empty. Computer on with game over. Mrs. Leeds told neighbors, voice trembling. Another boy's gone. That old game swallows souls. Don't touch the computer, or I'm behind you, will come for you. From then, Riverside whispered of the haunted apartment, where childhood nostalgia turned to unending horror. If you move in, don't play the game. The shadow waits, silently behind you, murmuring in the dark.